Chris Cooney with the Chamber of Commerce. It's my pleasure to welcome you here to the historic Thomas Edison building. This building was built in 1883 and opened by Thomas Edison as the first power plant in the city of Brockton. I want to welcome you to the regularly scheduled meeting of our Legislative Affairs Committee, which is held on the first Friday of every month. Metro South Chamber of Commerce is comprised of about 1,000 companies in 18 communities, with Brockton being the city and the surrounding towns. This forum features 4 candidates for the mayor of Brockton. Seating is limited. We ask you to refrain from speaking or making any noises. This will help our friends at Brockton Community Access who are recording this. They will also be playing this forum on television over the next few weeks as we approach the primary, which is scheduled for Tuesday, September 22nd. Please take this opportunity to turn off all of your cell phones or anything that beeps or squeaks. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our moderator today. That's Sue Joss, the chair of our board. Sue.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris. At this time, I'd like to welcome the candidates for the mayor of the city of Brockton, Mayor Bill Carpenter, Mr. Chris Hopgood, Mr. Christopher McMillan, and Mr. Jacob Taggart Jr. So our candidate in the first seat is Mr. Christopher Hopgood Sr. Chris is a lifelong resident of Brockton for 53 years, and he remembers how the city was and would like to see it improve. Mr. Christopher McMillan. Chris has been a lifelong resident of Brockton. After graduating from Brockton High School in 1982, he followed in his father's footsteps and became a sheet metal journeyman for Local 17 Boston. In 1994, Chris decided on a career change which would prove more stability for his family. For almost 20 years, Chris has worked for Viola Water of North America as a licensed Massachusetts wastewater operator. Chris has served as a city councilor for Ward 7 for 4 terms and was a city council president in 2010. He's been married to his wife Carolyn for over 25 years, and they have 3 children. Mr. Jacob Taggart Jr. Jacob currently works in Boston as a district manager and trainer for 2 Fortune 500 companies. He previously served as former youth activities coordinator for the Brockton Housing Authority, as youth counselor for the YMCA, sports and fitness director at the Boys and Girls Club, and former coach and director of the Brockton Baseball Club. Jacob was also the former president of the Top of the Rainbow Club, a multicultural club founded by the late Mary Baker at Massasoit Community College. With the support of his wife and 2 children, Jacob continues to work in community organizations. Mayor Bill Carpenter. Bill Carpenter is a 28-year resident of Brockton and has raised 6 children and 3 grandchildren, all of whom live in the city of Brockton. Before being elected mayor, he completed his 2nd term as the Ward 5 representative to the Brockton School Committee. He was the chairman of the Facilities Usage Committee, a committee which oversaw a $36 million renovation project for several Brockton schools at a cost of only $7 million to the Brockton taxpayers. He is also the co-founder of Independence Academy, the 4th high school in the state and the 43rd in the country, established to educate students who are in the drug recovery programs. So welcome to all of our candidates. Before we begin, and while the candidates are being mic'd up, I want to go over the ground rules for the forum today. Number 1, the order for the opening remarks, Q&A, and closing remarks is based on a drawing upon the candidates' arrival today. Opening remarks are limited to 2 minutes each. Responses to each question are limited to 1 minute each. Time will be kept by Athena Lavoie from the chamber staff in the front row. Candidates will be alerted of remaining time at 30 seconds and 15 seconds with signs held up by Athena. She also will let you know when time is up and will ring the bell if necessary. You will have closing remarks of 1 minute each, which were determined by a separate drawing that all of you did. And as Chris mentioned, we do ask the audience to remain quiet and not participate in the forum. So as soon as everyone is mic'd, we will start with opening comments. And the first candidate to present opening comments will be Chris Hopgood.
Are we ready?
You ready to go? Okay.
Hi, my name is Chris Hopgood. I'm running for the position of mayor. I've been a lifelong resident of this city for 53 years. I did 4 years in the service and come out with an honorable discharge, and I just believe, I want to go ahead and see the city corrected, because I just watched the downfall in it. And I know the local businesses, I've talked to a few friends of mine, and the taxes are killing them. Now, I don't understand how we can go ahead and bring in business and run the local businesses out of business, because that's really going to affect them. I mean, it takes local businesses to make a community. And that's my belief. Because I know some of these people that have these local businesses, and they're getting affected by taxes, and it's killing them. But beyond that, as far as the police department goes, I think they're doing a great job. But I think they need more police officers on duty, and that's patrolmen. Not, you can't have so many chiefs and not enough Indians. That's my belief. And right now, it looks like we have, everybody wants to put on chiefs. They don't want to put the Indians on. And we need these Indians, because there was just a shooting over on Brook Street the other day, and then there was another one later on that evening. And prevention is 3/4 of the thing. It's not doing it after the fact. It's doing it before the fact. But that's my vision. I really firmly believe that we need to go ahead and put more patrolmen out there in the community, associating with the people. Because right now, I see like 4 or 5 cruisers going by my house, and they're driving by at 40 miles an hour. They're not associating with the general public. But that's what we need. We need more people associating with the general public. And that's pretty much my opening statement.
Thank you. Chris McMillan?
First of all, I'd like to thank the Chamber for offering this opportunity to speak in front of everyone. And again, hopefully it will be aired in enough time before the September 22nd preliminary. My name is Chris McMillan. I was a former city council for Ward 7 for 8 years, which is 4 terms. I've been a lifelong resident for the city of Brockton. I pulled papers to run for mayor because I felt that this city needs someone with the experience that I have to bring to the table, along with the year I was at the city council as a city council president, which my colleagues, the other councilors, voted me in as. Excuse me, I apologize if I sound winded. I'm fighting a bad cold right now, so that's the reason for it, not because of my weight. So, as a councilor, I was the chairman of the real estate committee, the accounts committee chair. I was just chairman of the finance committee meeting. So with those things behind me, with that experience, I know that the city absolutely needs a change. We need someone in there that's going to be proactive, not reactive. And as far as creating more jobs and creating more revenue, I don't think there's another councilor in this area that has, in the city, right, as of when I was as a tenure for my 8 years, that brought in as much. I helped bring in and work out the deals with the Crown Uniforms and Linens, which was a 20-acre site which had hot areas in the soil, which they had contaminated soil, which they spent $1 million to clean it up. Now they have their main headquarters in place on that 20 acres in the site. They're also bringing in, have about 135 workers there. Northeast Electric, and I keep on repeating this, I'm sorry if you are getting bored with this, but Northeast Electric, that's their main headquarters. They consolidated their facilities in Walpole, and they brought it here in Brockton because of the way that I pushed for them and helped them out and gave them the tax incentive financings to get them into the city of Brockton, to put their foot in the door, and now they're here to stay. I also
That's
work.
time. Thank you.
Really?
Jacob Tagger?
2 minutes.
First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the Metro Chamber of Commerce for holding this forum. It's very important to educate the voters on the candidates, so thank you. I also want to thank the thousands and thousands of residents that my team and I have went out door to door meeting. It's been an incredible experience. So this election, in my opinion, comes down to one simple question. Each of us needs to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, do you feel safe? When you send your children to school in the morning, do you genuinely fear for their safety? When you go to the grocery store in broad daylight, do you feel safe? As business owners, when opening or closing your businesses here in Brockton, do you feel safe? Public safety is and has to be the #1 priority here in the City of Champions. Residents and business owners should feel safe. Now, we've tried counterinsurgency. We've even went block by block, street by street, and it's not working. We are in desperate need of a new approach. We need compassionate leadership, leadership that will unite our community and bring people together to ensure we all feel safe. And I am that leader. Last mayoral election, Mayor Bill Carpenter, as the opponent, made a very eloquent analogy that stuck in my head. He stated that it was time to change the pitcher. Well, Brockton, we changed the pitcher. Now it's time to change the game. I urge you all to help me truly change the game. Together, our city, the City of Champions, can once again be made safe. My name is Jacob L. Taggart, Jr. I am running to become the next mayor of the City of Champions.
That's time. Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much to the Chamber for hosting this forum. The Chamber is a place that I've spent a lot of time during my first 19 months as mayor. I was sworn in as your mayor 19 months ago with a plan and a vision for the future of the city of Brockton. We knew that the key to the future of the city is revitalizing the city's economy. That's why we hired a city planner and a junior planner. We built an economic development team. We created the position of Main Street Manager to work with small businesses across the city. And we realized that one of the keys of revitalizing the city of Brockton's economy is to rebuild the downtown. And we are rebuilding the downtown. Take a drive through and take a look around. We're creating jobs by attracting businesses to come to the city and by helping existing businesses expand and succeed. And we're working for real property tax relief, which we know means expanding the tax base. We need more businesses and more individuals contributing so that everyone can have less of a burden. We also know that we need to develop additional sources of revenue, and we're doing that, including the sale this past year of $1.2 million of surplus city property that not only generates over $1 million, but will generate an ongoing stream of property tax revenue of over $500,000 a year. And yes, we are making city government more accessible, more open. We've created a new website. We have a virtual city hall online. And we have See, Click, Fix, among many other improvements. And our most important fight is for our neighborhoods. And we're cleaning up neighborhoods. We're reclaiming ownership of the green spaces, the parks, the playgrounds, the golf course. And we are fighting crime. Let's call it what it is. It's a fight, and we're fighting it every day. And I hope that during the course of this forum, we'll have an opportunity to talk about some of the specific actions that we take every day, including being in the process of hiring 15 new police officers.
At this time, we'll present questions from the chamber. Each candidate will have a minute to respond. As a reminder, Athena will be giving you 30-second and 15-second warnings. The first responder on the first question will be Chris McMillan. Mr. McMillan, what is your top priority for making Brockton more attractive to new and existing businesses?
Well, as a city councilor, I actually sat on the board, city council. We actually anything you see being developed right now has been was approved when I was a city councilor. The enterprise block was approved over 2.5 years ago when I sat as a city councilor. The new lighting and new sidewalks in downtown Brockton were approved as a city council. So everything that right now that's being played, City Hall plazas, was all approved when I was a city council. So I actually helped bring in a lot of business in Ward 7. I'm willing to expand, and I'm able to expand and bring in a lot better businesses, especially the downtown. The downtown manager is a nice thought, but it's not working right now. So I would definitely change that up and have someone with the experience and the background to create more jobs and more business, and someone in there to do so. The city planner was put into as an ordinance when I sat as a city council. Council Brophy and everyone else that I sat with, we put that in as an ordinance. So when the mayor says he brought in a city planner, he had to. It's a city ordinance. And I was part of that ordinance when it came through.
That's time. Thank you. Mr. Tagger?
It's a great question, thank you. Again, the theme of this election is public safety, so first priority is public safety first and foremost. That's what's going to bring a better image to our city, and that's what's going to bring new businesses and new customers to our city. One of my points and our plan is to aggressively promote the positive about Brockton. I know we have a budget for marketing the downtown area, and that is going to be key to what my administration works on, about telling people what's good about Brockton. But again, as I stated in my opening statement, this all comes back to public safety. We cannot clean up this city until we deal with public safety. That has to be a priority, and that is a priority of my campaign. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
Well, I agree. Public safety is a key to the business community here. We need our business owners to be able to bring customers into the city. But, you know, we are doing the things to make the city of Brockton more business friendly. We have to cut red tape. We've done that. We have to make city government more business friendly. We've done that. I've changed members of city boards, and we're simplifying and speeding up the regulatory process and the licensing process. We've put the building permit online. We have to create an atmosphere here in the city where investors and developers and business owners want to make their investment here. And that is happening right now, and our changes have been very well received. We've built an economic development team, the Chamber of Commerce, B21, the BRA, our new planning department, our Main Street manager, myself, all working together as a team to attract businesses to come here to the city, but never forgetting that our first role is to continue to work with and help our existing businesses succeed.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
Hi, yeah, you know, I'm in firm agreement with, I think all of us want public safety, okay? And I definitely want public safety, but one of my ultimate goals is to go ahead and fix these roads also. Mr. Carpenter turned around and he has set it up for the funding for West Elm Street to go ahead and be redone, which is a terrific project, and I don't think it's happening fast enough. But I mean, I think a lot of the roads need to be done, and it's just not happening fast enough. But beyond that, public safety is definitely a major issue in my book. That's all I have.
Thank you. And first to Jacob Tagger on promotion of Brockton. The city raises more than $1 million in taxes every year from customers at Brockton hotels and restaurants. What are your thoughts on allocating some of these funds to promote and market Brockton?
I think that, again, that's a good question. I think my financial team and I need to work with business leaders and residents as well to go over an exact plan on how we're going to utilize those funds. Because right now, I don't believe the funds are being utilized properly. I am a strong believer that we need to do a full audit on every department in the city to ensure that the money is being utilized properly and come up with a game plan to utilize those resources the correct way. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
I think one of the first things we have to do regarding the hotels and restaurants is get the state to stop using Brockton hotels as homeless shelters. It's created a tremendous burden on the city. We have 500 children in our school district that are considered homeless. And we embrace those children, we serve those children, but it hurts the image of the city to have Brockton hotels used as homeless shelters, and we are bearing a disproportionate burden of the homeless crisis, basically carrying the burden for the entire Metro South region. Listen, the number one issue to business owners in the city is the commercial tax rate. We have one of the highest commercial tax rates in southeastern Massachusetts, and we have to start looking at that. And well, I shouldn't say that. We already are looking at that, and as part of reducing the property tax burden, we have to get our commercial property tax rate more in line with surrounding communities, and that requires the city council to step up.
Mr. Hopgood?
Well, my personal, I was just sitting here thinking, daydreaming kind of, but I was thinking about this K care, pre-K care, and it sounds more like daycare to me. I mean, pre-kindergarten, I've never heard of that before in my life. And that's a burden on the system also, because it's costing us a fortune to go ahead and feed all these kids and take care of them. And just like Mr. Carpenter stated, you know, we're housing them, but it's almost like we just took on a daycare center. And that's just one of my views. I mean, it might be a bad view, but that's my view.
Mr. McMillan?
Thank you. And to correct Mr. Hopgood, and no disrespect, the West Elm Street and Pleasant Street are all state granted, so the state is controlled, and they're the ones that brought that in over 5 years ago. As far as the hotel motel tax goes, majority of that, if not almost all of it, goes to the Rock Stadium, which in turn is B21. They give it back to the city of Brockton to pay off our bond for that. I personally would rather see us sell the Rock Stadium to a private entity and have them run it, and then that'll be putting that property on a tax roll so we can get some money for it, for that property.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Carpenter, you already started to address the commercial tax rate. What tax policy change would you support, if any, to encourage business development, retention, and job creation?
Well, I want to follow up on my challenges comments regarding West Elm Street. That project was hopelessly buried at the bottom of the pile by the state when I became mayor 19 months ago. And it was our hard work and our developing of a relationship with the Mass Department of Transportation that allowed that project to become a priority. And we've been working on that for a year and a half. That project will begin construction on October 5th. Mr. McMillan's right, it's state funded. That's why we work so hard for it. $5.5 million of state money to completely rebuild West Elm Street from one end to the other, including adding traffic signals at two of the most dangerous intersections in the city, at Ash Street and at Newbury Street. So I think that is a very significant accomplishment of this administration. And that rebuilding of West Elm Street is going to create another avenue to the downtown business district, a new gateway, attractive gateway coming down West Elm Street. We've worked closely with the chamber.
That's time, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Hopgood, your views on the commercial tax rate?
I'm sorry?
The commercial tax rate.
I really don't have any numbers right now, so I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McMillan?
They are high. They have to agree to that. But you also have to be sure to raise the revenues in order for us to run the city. That's not on the backs of the commercial property owners or the residential. Actually, when I sat on the council, I had a formula we could have used to not raise the taxes, but the chief financial officer shot it down, and he got the support by the other councils. So there is money there available where we can use not to raise the taxes anymore. And I like to have some type of incentives into place to bring in businesses to the downtown area for tax relief. That if they come in, they hire city residents, they get a tax relief on the downtown area. That's the way you can draw the businesses in.
Thank you. Mr. Tagger?
Thank you. I want to make a comment about a statement that the mayor made earlier than Mr. Hopgood, and this is about the hotels being used for homeless people in our city, and that the image that gives us. Now, I agree we need to find ways to empower these people who are struggling, but I want to say that we also need to have compassion. We have to have compassion for people that are struggling. There's a lot of people in this country that are struggling, and I just thought it was a very insensitive statement to make. Okay. So now, as far as the commercial tax rate, you know, I know there's the Aquaria deal, and I'm sure we'll be speaking about that. That's a deal that my administration is going to challenge. We're going to challenge, and it was mentioned at this same debate 2 years ago. And I think that just that $6.3 million a year could be used to help alleviate some of it. But again, it all comes back to public safety. If we generate more revenue for
It's time.
the
Thank you.
businesses, then we can help alleviate that burden. Thank you.
So, Mr. Hopgood, you're up first on the resort casino. The proposed resort casino brings jobs, taxes, and investment to the city. What benefits do you see, and what concerns do you have?
My biggest concern is I drove tractor trailer for 22 years. Okay, I've traveled out in Nevada, I've traveled across the country, I've been everywhere, like Savoir Fair, and I have seen nothing but pawn shops, corruption, and crime rates going up around every casino that I've ever witnessed. Do we really want this in our backyard?
Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
I'm against the casino, and I'm sure the Metro South they don't like me anymore, but it's okay, Chris. It's not a good thing, not a good fit for the city of Brockton. They say it's going to create 1,500 jobs, but you have to be qualified in order to apply for those jobs. And that some of the qualifications are they do a background check, they do a query check, and they do a credit check. So if you have any type of black mark on you, they're not going to be acceptable. Plus, it's being overseen by the state. I don't think it's a good fit for the city of Brockton. I personally would rather sit down with Mr. Carney, who owns the property, and go and try to bring in something like a Faneuil Hall or a Quincy Market, where we have multiple businesses and restaurants up that area, and bring the good quality businesses in the city of Brockton and hire the people, instead of having people waste their money in gambling and then leaving the city as soon as they come in.
Thank you. Mr. Taggart?
Thank you again. So the casino issue, I was the first and one of the few candidates or elected officials in the city that spoke out against the casino. I'm not against casinos, but I am against a casino right next to our high school and what challenges that our youth would face and the customers in that area. So again, I want to make it clear, I'm not against a casino. I used to go to casinos for conferences in Vegas every year, 5 years straight. But I am against the location, and I'm against it being right next to our high school. And just to touch on a point that Mr. McMillan made, is the qualifications, because I think there were a lot of mistruths that were told about jobs at this casino. Our current administration, current mayor, would not be able to, based on the qualifications, would not be able to work at this casino, and I want to make sure that is clear. So we promise jobs, but it's not for Brockton jobs, it's not. But again, I'm against the location of the casino near our high school. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
Well, I negotiated the host community agreement with the developers for the proposed casino. I know what $12 million a year would mean to this city. The challenge is, I'll say, we need more police, we need more teachers, I want to fix the roads. I haven't heard the ideas as to how these folks are going to pay for it. $12 million a year is school teachers and police officers to address these challenges that we need to generate money to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. And in that host community agreement, Brockton residents are guaranteed preference for those 1,500 jobs. And 80% of those jobs do not require any previous training or experience. So the vast majority of those jobs will go to Brockton residents. So I believe that jobs, revenue, what this casino can mean to change the image of the city would be critical to transforming the perception of Brockton in the future. And for those young people at the high school that you're concerned about, I'd like to get them jobs in the the luxury hotel and the
Thank
5
you.
restaurants that'll be on that property.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan, the next question to you on the regional wastewater reclamation facility in Brockton. The city has recently spent close to $1 million to upgrade the facility. Will you support selling up to 1.5 million gallons in treatment capacity to neighboring towns to help defray the cost to Brockton ratepayers?
Well, for transparency's sake, I work for Veolia Water. It runs the wastewater and water plant for the city of Brockton. I'm an employee for Veolia. I'm a wastewater operator by trade. So that's where I'm stationed right now, stationed in the city of Brockton's wastewater treatment plant. Our capacity has been upgraded slightly. We have seen many years, I've been down here for 21 years. Many times we've seen over 30, 40, 50 million dollars, a million gallons of water coming through the wastewater, and we can't handle it. So as long as we can handle it, which I think we can during the summer times, but during the peak times, I don't think we can. So I wouldn't mind expanding it, but we would have to expand the treatment plant also into another upgrade. So we have the capacity right now to 20, was 18 and a half, but trust me, during the winter and springtime, we hit quite a few digits over that
Thank you.
mark. Thank you.
Mr. Taggart?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The city has recently spent close to $1 million to upgrade the regional wastewater reclamation facility in Brockton. Will you support selling up to 1.5 million gallons in treatment capacity to neighboring towns to help defray the cost to Brockton ratepayers?
I am open to look at anything to help alleviate costs to the taxpayers. Again, I always would proceed with caution, but I am open to saving taxpayers money, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mayor Carpenter?
Well, I'm already doing it. Since I've been mayor, we've renegotiated the sewer agreement with the town of Abington, and we now sell the town of Abington 1 million gallons a day of additional sewer treatment than we did previously. We're talking and we're negotiating with the town of Whitman right now on their agreement. We've opened conversations with a couple of the other surrounding towns because we do need we need to regionalize both water and sewer. We need to generate that revenue to the city of Brockton so that it will help alleviate the pressure on the Brockton ratepayers. This brings additional money in to help cover the expenses to lessen how much we have to ask the Brockton ratepayers to pay for. So I'm certainly committed to regionalizing and selling our excess sewer and water capacity while always being careful to keep a cushion. Our number one priority is to make sure that we have extra capacity for new growth here in the city. But the state has approved a 2.5 million gallon a day increase in our sewer capacity for the treatment
Thank you.
plant, pending EPA approval.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
I'm totally in agreement with that, you know, that they should turn around and require the other cities to go ahead and be able to obtain this because, you know, it's less of a burden on us as taxpayers.
Thank you. Mr. Tagger, water rates. How would you best use Brockton's excess water capacity to restructure water rates and attract new businesses to the city?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
How would you best use Brockton's excess water capacity to restructure water rates and attract new businesses to the community?
Again, this is an issue that I've just begun to really research, and I want to make sure I have the correct information. So right now we're looking into it. My team is looking into this issue.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Mayor
thank you.
Carpenter?
I think the larger question is how do we use the availability of our water to attract businesses here? In our economic development plan, we've identified growth industries for the city that are looking for our water capacity. Healthcare, food processing, businesses that need a source of water in order to grow. So we're already actively using our ability to have excess water capacity as part of our overall strategy to attract businesses to the city. Unfortunately, right now, the water rates are not supporting the operations of the water department. But again, I think the answer is to bring in more revenue.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
Well, I don't know, it just dawned upon me that the Aquatia deal and how East Bridgewater rather, just had a major water main break recently, and they were drawing the water from there. But you know, I don't think they turned around and proposed that they would buy the plant. I think they turned around and they just drew the water and they paid the bill. But I'm wondering, why would we ever sign on to a 20-year contract when they've already breached the contract? We should be able to go ahead and nullify it and get out of that contract and sign a 5-year contract rather than a 20-year contract. That's all I got.
Thank you.
That's all the time I got.
I'm sorry, so the water, can you repeat the question real quick?
Sure. How would you best use Brockton's excess water capacity to restructure water rates and attract new businesses to the city?
All right, when I sat as a city councilor, I was against the water increase rates, which did pass, unfortunately, and the sewer rates increase. I was against that also. Well, we have ample amount of water right now from Silver Lake and the Avon Reservoir, so we should be able to critique it a little bit. We have to live within our means as a department. The water and sewer departments have their enterprise funds. Basically what they gave the mayor is a wish list of what they want to do. So they went ahead, now they're looking for, which the mayor put into the city council, is a 30% increase for your water rates. And as previously, and I argued this point way back when they raised it the first time, is that the sewer rates are going to follow suit with the water rate increases. So I personally I would tell the city water department to live within their means. They have excess money available to do over some piping, and I would create some type of, I would like to do away with the enterprise fund, to tell you the truth, so we have more money available.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter, what will you do to foster strong relationships between businesses and city government?
To foster strong relationships between business and city government?
Yes.
Well, I think that we're already working on that. We, members of the mayor's office, attend all of the meetings of all the business organizations here in the city. In our economic development team that we've put together, the Chamber of Commerce, representing all the businesses in the area, is an integral part of that team. It's working with the Chamber, talking about the water, that together we're working on getting Brockton status for a biotech site community increased from gold to platinum, because biotech is another industry that our availability of water can draw businesses to the city, and we're working closely with the Chamber towards that goal of platinum status. And Chris knows very well that the mayor did not recommend a water rate increase. The Water Commission recommends the rate increase. Water rates are set by the City Council based upon a recommendation or request from the Water Commission. The mayor has no
That's
role
time.
in the
Thank
setting
you.
of water rates.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
Well, sorry, what was the question?
How would you best, what would you do to foster strong relationships between business and city government?
Well, you know, first of all, I think I would get an economic advisor, okay? And I'd be more interested in bringing in a company like Sylvania and doing the LED lighting and all that, or bringing GE or a major corporation, because those are going to provide a whole ton of jobs. And I believe that's going to help our economy.
Thank you. Pardon?
Who's next?
Sure. Working with business, what will you do to foster strong relationships between business and city government?
I have a proven track record of working with businesses and bringing them in the city of Brockton. I used to have monthly meetings with the Westgate Mall management to see what they wanted or what we needed for the city of Brockton. And then that transpired into, one of them was the market basket. Another one was when I worked with the Crown Linens and Uniforms. I worked with them for 3 years. They didn't like the city of Brockton's water rates, but we convinced them with a tax incentive financing that it would offset everything, so that's how they came into Brockton. I am the councilor that put in, along with my other colleagues, the 43D, which is expediting permitting for all businesses. So when I sat as a city councilor, I was extremely business friendly, but it has to be a right fit for the city of Brockton, and then I'll be great and I'll help them out any which way they can. So,
Thank you. Mr. Taggart?
You know I'm going to ask you to repeat the question, right?
What will you do to foster strong relationships between business and city government?
I would have them both sides at the table. When I mean both sides, the businesses as well as the customers and the residents, to work together to figure out exactly the needs of our residents and the needs of the businesses, and to figure out, again, together what's going to work for our community. I think it's very important to have open, transparent discussions between both sides, and that's the way we come to solutions, is bringing everybody to the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood, regarding the city charter review, are there aspects of the current Brockton city charter you would like to see studied and adjusted to improve the management of the city?
Well, I I understand by watching TV the other night, okay, that it's required that we turn around and have so many lieutenants on the force and so many captains on the police force. And I just find that outrageous because, like I said before, you know, it's like having so many chiefs and not enough Indians. That's what I'd like to see changed.
Okay, thank you. And regarding the Brockton City Charter, Mr. McMillan?
We're on a Plan B, a Form B government, which is strong city council, weak mayor. Every January, the city council approves to give the mayor the right to enter into any contract that he may or she may feel is necessary. I personally feel like the city council should not give, if I'm elected mayor, hold that back. Let's let the city council review it also, and it gives more input into a contract that we have to sign. So it has to be run correctly. It's not being run correctly right now. That's why my name is on the ballot, and I have the experience to move this city forward into a better direction, and that's why I'm okay with this Plan B government.
Thank you.
I work well with the councilors.
Thank you. Mr. Taggart?
Again, your question, please.
Are there aspects of the current Brockton City Charter where you would like to see studied and adjusted to improve the management of the city?
I personally think, and this is from attending meetings with city council, I personally would like to see less egos. And when I mean that, the form of government I support. I think you need checks and balances. But I also think as city leaders, and the mayors here, and I would say to our city councils, we need to put our egos aside and work together, come to the table and work together. That's how we really get things accomplished. And I've witnessed in the past few years, at whoever's fault it is egos are in the way, and we forget why we're all here, and that's to move Brockton together forward. So again, I support the current charter, but I also strongly believe that as long as we can put our egos aside, we can do great things here in the City of Champions.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
I think the Plan B form of government has often misunderstood this notion of strong council, weak mayor. Yes, that's a kind of a description of Plan B. However, the mayor's responsibilities are very clear. The mayor is the CEO of the city and runs the city on a day-to-day basis. The city council is a legislative body, sets policy, oversees the budget, just like the superintendent of schools and the school committees. I think sometimes we have to be reminded what everyone's role is. But I've got to tell you, I do believe the city should look at a 4-year term for mayor. And I would have no problem disqualifying myself and have it go into effect with the next mayor. But this constant 2-year election cycle for mayors, it makes it tough for the mayor to make good long-term decisions when they're constantly up for re-election. However, soon we will be announcing a 10-year economic development plan for the future of Brockton 2025, and we'll be rolling that out next month because we know we need good, solid, long-term planning and strategy.
The next question starts with Mr. McMillan about signage. Will you allocate funds for improved signage along major vehicle routes in Brockton, making it easier to find important sites while also improving the overall appearance of the city?
You're talking about excessive signage?
Signage to approve new signage.
There's a lot of, right now, as far as signage goes, the building department is supposed to oversee and monitor the signage. If you see all the phone poles where people are just nailing their signs on, we'll buy homes for cash or snow removal, et cetera. Those have to be policed better. Right now, the code enforcement is not in place, so we have to get that in place when I'm the mayor. As far as signage goes, there's direction. Is that what you're pertaining to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The signages just have to be more accurate. They have to be better produced. There's a lot of places that say Massasoit to enter here, but when they come off the highway in Massasoit, where's Massasoit? They can't find Massasoit. So once they get on Belmont Street, they have no clue where Massasoit is and how to get there. So yeah, absolutely, you have to increase the signage to help out to attract more business or people to the business.
Thank you. Shall I read the question?
You're understanding, I like it.
Will you allocate funds for improved signage along major vehicle routes in Brockton, making it easier to find important sites while also improving the overall appearance of the city?
Of course. That's my answer. Yes.
Mayor Carpenter?
We're on to me? Okay. We're working with businesses in all areas to improve the business climate here in the city. We're working to create a climate of attraction so that businesses will want to come to the city of Brockton and entrepreneurs will want to start their new businesses in the city of Brockton. We're using code enforcement very effectively in terms of vacant properties, in removing graffiti as two initiatives that we've started since I've been mayor. However, we do need to look at this entire issue of code enforcement and licensing because Brockton, I don't believe, is designed very well, and that's why I've brought the Collins Center in from UMass Boston this year to study our entire code enforcement and licensing structure and take a look at what the best practices are in other cities the size of Brockton. And I look forward to that study being done, and I look forward to coming to the council with recommended changes.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
Yeah, I don't believe that's really a major issue because I think that the majority of the places that, you know, like Good Samaritan Hospital, and they're all pretty much, you know, the signs turn around and point you right to it. But as far as people turn around and putting signs on the telephone poles and all that, now that can be annoying because it blocks the view of the person trying to drive their vehicles. It makes it so it's tough to go ahead and see, and I think that's an issue. But as far as the reference signs and all, I don't believe that's an issue.
Thank you. This concludes the chamber questions. We're now going to move on to questions that were submitted in advance of this event by constituents. So, Mr. Tagger, regarding Main Street in Brockton, what are the three most important elements to revitalize Main Street and downtown?
Three most important. I think we need to enforce our current speed limits. I think we need to slow traffic down. I know there's been a lot of discussion around making Main Street two-way, which is something that I definitely want to look at. But I think we need to slow traffic down. We have a lot of great businesses downtown that people don't have an opportunity to see because they're racing through there. Again, we also need to work with our residents and the residents in that area, see what types of businesses that they want in that, downtown. And I think we need to have more community events downtown so we can learn to appreciate businesses like Hoagie's Hobbies, who's a lot of history in that business that a lot of people don't get to see, or Elvera's Cafe, or I used to go to Tuxedo by Marion's and get my tuxedos fitted because, for Brockton High proms. I just think there needs to be an enforcement of our current traffic speed limits.
This time, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Carpenter?
Yeah, I'm going to ask to repeat the question this time.
What are the three most important elements to revitalize Main Street and downtown?
Two-way traffic, clean, safe, well-lit. All of our business districts, we need improved lighting and more video cameras because we know well-lit and video surveillance makes neighborhoods and business districts safer. And parking is a key concern in our downtown business districts, Montello, Campello, and downtown. And we've, working with the Parking Authority, recently commissioned a study to look at both the short-term and long-term needs for parking downtown. And we're ready to begin construction within the next 30 days on a new parking lot on South Street in the Campello section in response to the concerns of those business owners to create additional parking so we can get the employees out of the business district into the parking lot and free up ready available parking for the businesses to bring their customers in. But in terms of the downtown specifically, we've worked closely with Rep. Brady to get money allocated in the transportation bond bill for two-way traffic, and the initial study is already underway.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
Well, the way I'm looking at it is, I think that, speed is definitely a factor because people go rocket shipping up and down that street, and somebody's going to eventually get hurt. But I think if we have more police presence and nighttime activities, I know that the mayor sponsors a thing outside of City Hall with the bands and everything else. And if we had a little more of that activity, I think public is going to go ahead and come down and visit downtown Brockton. You're going to realize that it isn't a bad place. That's
Thank
what I
you.
got.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
Well, as far as downtown goes, priorities for me would be three most important elements. One is the two-way traffic. I actually have found money for that to convert that over. The state had put it aside. It's still sitting in their coffers, so we can tap into that. So that money is available for us to do that. And I don't know why the previous mayors haven't done that or tapped into it, but I know where it is, and under my attorney's guidance and so we found the money. And so two-way traffic, absolutely the lighting, but it's a ghost town in the afternoons. Elvira's closes at 4 o'clock. They're not open on weekends because there's no foot traffic. I'd love to see some places in there that opened up the foot traffic. As far as like the Martello and Campello goes, they're doing okay right now, but we have to make sure that they're well taken care of also. They're not forgotten. And right now, I think they feel that they've been forgotten. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, what types of investment in technology do you anticipate the city making in the years ahead?
I think investing in technology has been one of the hallmarks of my administration. We have a new website. If you take a look at that has virtual city hall, permits and license applications online, far greater accessibility to city data and information, and we're just scratching the surface. We're probably doing 20% of what we'll eventually be able to do with that website. I've instituted See, Click, Fix. You can have an app for your phone and make any type of report or complaint to city government 24/7 on your computer or on your phone. We're investing in technology for public safety, increased communication for police and fire. How about ShotSpotter for the police department? And we recently just implemented brand new fingerprinting technology at the Brockton Police Department, where previously it took 2 to 3 months for the police to get back a possible match on fingerprints. Now with this new machine, they get a response in less than 10 minutes, and that makes the city safer.
Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What types of investment in technology do you anticipate the city making in the next few years?
Well, like I stated before, I know that when the power company was planning on going down here, that they had discussed putting in an LED plant for light bulbs, and I don't understand LED too much, but I do know that it's more greener than the light bulbs that are out there right now. And that's technology to me. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
Yes, 2 years ago when I ran for mayor, my first time, I wanted to implement some type of new website, which actually you can actually buy a program instead of having your own website. You can buy the program that would do expediting permitting, the permit items. I understand the mayor has gone ahead and done that, but thank you, Mr. Mayor, for taking that idea from me. We need to open up our doors. The ShotSpotter was already in play. When I was a city council, we just expanded on it. I'd love to see that we bring back the license plate readers for the police departments that would initiate or let the police know that they are going to, someone has overdue, their expired license while they're driving and so on. That would help out as far as technology goes, as far as the police department goes. We need to be a more business-friendly city hall, and right now I've met a lot of small businesses, and they feel that they haven't had that opportunity at City Hall. So,
Thank you. Mr. Tagger?
Again, question, please.
What types of investment in technology do you anticipate the city making in the years ahead?
I think it is important to invest in new technology. I want to touch on ShotSpotter. We invested $600,000. I want to see us invest in people. Again, we have a system, ShotSpotter. to tell us where the shots are coming from, but we don't have the police officers to react to it. So I don't know if that was a good priority or use of our funds. Something I would like to see us invest in is utilizing all city buildings and put a bid out to a solar panel company and put solar panels on all city buildings. I don't know if there's anywhere in the country that does that, but that would help with our utilities. We'd save millions there. We can work out a deal to, to free solar panels, put them on all city buildings. But again, I strongly and firmly believe that we need to invest in people. We're firing teachers. We don't have enough police on the streets. We have to prioritize. We need to better prioritize with
Thank
our
you.
resources. Thank you.
Mr. Hopgood, can you share with us your strategy on how to balance the needs of the homeless population and their impact on retail businesses and public spaces?
Well, I'm a firm believer. I do respect BIC because they are very large with putting people with moderate incomes into family housings. Nobody wants to go ahead and rent forever without owning a piece of property. I mean, if you turn around, you give a moderate-sized family the right to go ahead and purchase their house, they're going to do the upkeep on it, and they're going to go ahead and take care of that property. Right now, I have a rundown house behind me that nobody's taking care of, and it's a shame. It's a shell of a house, and it's a shame. So that is what I believe, that you turn around, and BIC is a great organization as far as helping out moderate income families to go ahead and get houses. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
Yes, the homeless are a big issue here in Brockton, but as Mr. Tagger and I, we were just at a church this morning speaking with the homeless. We need to give them some help. We need to get them, I would like to get them, they're looking for actually some properties that they want to move into as apartments, and they confirmed that they're not all the backpack people that you see at the park next door to Mainspring House. They're actually people that just fell on hard times. So you have a couple of, the perception of the homeless right now is someone's been drinking too much, they've passed out, or they're doing drugs. That's not every single homeless person. There are some like that we have to actually get off the streets, but we need to actually be more compassionate, as Mr. Tagg alluded to earlier, that we have to have something in place, which right now we don't have anything in place. And they don't want to be in downtown Brockton. They want to be in an apartment or a place where they can call their, call their own. So that's what I'd be working with.
Thank you. Mr. Tagger?
I don't need you to repeat this one.
Thank you.
So as Mr. McMillan said, we were at a forum earlier today with some citizens and some homeless residents. What I strongly believe is we need to offer opportunities to help these people who are very capable people. They don't want to be homeless. That's not what they want. It's something that happened from just the economy. It's unfortunate. We need to utilize these people. I volunteer every month with these homeless residents, and actually at the Mainspring we do lunches on Sundays. There's a lot of capable people there. Maybe we could have a program where we find some creative ways to have them, clean up the city, pay them to clean up the city. Just build up their pride. But we need to give them opportunities so they can contribute to our community, because they are part of our community. And as long as we ignore them, that's not the right way to go. You have to empower them and involve them in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
First of all, the vast majority of our homeless population are not even originally from Brockton. Brockton's become a magnet for the homeless population, and we are bearing a disproportionate burden in trying to solve the homeless crisis, which exists in every city across our country. And it's not a lack of compassion. I recently joined a group of mayors from across the country to make a commitment to end veterans' homelessness. And we're working behind the scenes with the task force with the VA right now to do a better job connecting vets, including homeless vets, to services at the VA. But the Mainspring shelter has to move. And I agree, they are. We've been working with them for over a year now and we need to get that out of the business district. They need a better facility. They need a daytime facility. We need to do a better job connecting people in need of services with those services that are available. But we are bearing the brunt of the burden for a regional problem. If you talk to our public safety personnel,
It's time.
they
Thank
will
you.
tell you that 80% of the homeless population in this city is not from here.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan, let's talk about gun violence. To what do you attribute the recent spate of gun violence in the city? And as mayor, what would you do about it?
It's overwhelming right now. Brazen people that are driving around shooting everywhere. And, some people think it's just, it's not a crime. Some people think it's only an incident because they find shell casings on the ground. I completely disagree. We need to give the police their whatever we can get as far as technology goes, and one of them I had mentioned before is to have them with a license plate check. They can actually program that computer to show that if it's a rental car or if someone has a record, that will help the police department get those people off the streets. We have to be more forceful with their patrols. We don't have the manpower as of right now, the way it's being managed, but I think if we manage it a little differently, we can grab that and fix the problem. So that's what I would do as a mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Tagger?
Thank you. It's a good question. I have to make a point on the mayor saying that a lot of our homeless population isn't from Brockton. Mr. Mayor, you're not originally from Brockton, okay? And I find you have your time, sir. I also find it offensive that we would consider or even insinuate that these people are a burden. That's offensive. But again, the mayor is not originally from Brockton. I started this forum by saying public safety is the #1 priority. The problem right now is there's not enough opportunities for our young people. That's what's getting missed here, is opportunities for our youth. The youth are the future of this city. We need to do whatever we can do to ensure that our youth have opportunities to participate in constructive and positive activities. We need to find ways to employ our young people. Again, this is why we're having issues in Brockton right now. And also because we have a lack of compassion with our leadership currently. We're too busy worried about big business and forgetting about the small people. So thank you very much for that question.
Mayor Carpenter?
Pretty sure I am one of the small people. This is a huge challenge facing cities across the country. I think the first thing we need is we need the judges to stop putting these career criminals back out on the streets. We arrest a guy with a gun, and the next day he's back in the city. And almost every single arrest we make regarding guns, that individual usually has 2 or 3 open cases already pending. We're arresting him for the 3rd or 4th time, and they're still out on the street. So we are targeting guns, and we are targeting drugs. And when our police officers, who are doing a great job and working with other agencies, including the state police, are getting guns off the streets, that doesn't make the headlines, but it's happening in this city every day. There is a real problem with the rental car companies. 90% of the vehicles involved in these shooting incidents are rental cars. The drug dealers and gang members are renting cars in other people's names. It puts our police officers at risk. They start chasing a car that they believe has a gun in it, run the plate, and finds out it belongs to Hertz. The cops ought to be able to know who's in the car that they're chasing with the gun.
Mr. Hopgood?
Yes, I agree with the mayor totally as far as the gun violence and everything, but my concern is the state of Massachusetts had a gun law where they turned around, it was 1 year without if you weren't licensed for that weapon, systematically. And like he's saying, they turn around, they're just getting flipped right out the door, and they turn around, they're leaving the courthouse. And why aren't the courts turning around and enforcing this 1-year mandatory gun law? Because that's where they belong. I'm sorry, they belong behind bars. They're out there shooting up our city and no remorse. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Tagger, the next question is about customer service. What type of professional development do City Hall employees participate in yearly, and how would you improve customer service at various City Hall offices?
How would I improve it? I would improve it by changing the attitude at City Hall. I've been in there several times, and I'll be completely honest with you, and some people may not want to hear this. It doesn't seem like it's a happy place. And City Hall is about customer service. Residents and businesses are customers. We need to be more welcoming at City Hall. You know, our current administration mentions about he's gonna have an open door policy, and it is open depending on who you know. I'm gonna actually when I'm elected in January, we're actually taking the doors off of City Hall, the mayor's office. We're gonna take them off. We're gonna take them off. We need to engage the residents when they come into City Hall. Customer service is something from my background that I feel is very important. And also just treating people with common decency and respect and being transparent and open. So it'll be a huge focus that, you know what, at City Hall, when you come into an office, people are gonna smile at you because they're gonna be happy to be at work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
Well, we're implementing those changes, and we have been for 19 months. We are making city government more accessible and more user-friendly, whether it's online services on our website, so that you don't have to come down to City Hall at all. We're working on a new telephone system that we're negotiating with the union right now. I expanded hours and opened on Monday nights, and that's something that we hope to be able to resume soon with the support of our unions. And I do have an open door policy, Jacob. We have Mondays with the mayor, and 1 or 2 Monday nights every month, any resident can call and get a 10-minute meeting with the mayor to talk about whatever their issue or frustration is with city government. Is it perfect? No. We're looking to change a culture, and you don't change a culture overnight. But I think what I am doing is I'm leading by example, and my office door is open. I think I'm the most approachable mayor the city's ever had. Anyone that needs a chance to speak to me can speak to me, and I'm sharing that philosophy with the people who work for me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's Mr. Hopgood's turn. Thank you. Mr. Hopgood?
Well, I mean, I've only dealt with City Hall a few times, and the few times that I did deal with them, I went down there to go ahead and try and receive some numbers, and I was directed from the city clerk's office to go over to the finance. And then I went over to the finance, and then I was directed back to the mayor's office, to where I got no response from his head, Bob Buckley. And I received no response. And so I never received any of the information I was looking for. And it was kind of crucial. But I don't know, I wasn't very happy with my visit down there, in a nutshell.
Mr. McMillan?
I would implement the customer service training. As a counselor, I've had many complaints from residents that felt that they were, there was an attitude problem at the City Hall, and you can't blame the people that work for the City Hall. They're being pushed around quite a bit by their either their department heads or other people. So I would actually introduce the customer service training, more sensitivity training, allowing them to be more aware of how the residents should be treated, because it's their house. The City Hall is their house, not yours, or not mine if I'm the mayor. And as far as mayor goes, my doors will always be open. I actually wanted to put in some type of kiosk out in the middle there to allow people and help people out, to direct them. A few people have approached me, the small businesses were seeking help from the mayor's office and received absolutely zero. So that's one thing that I'll definitely be changing up when I become mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Carpenter, the next question is about recruiting new industries. Brockton has seen some recent success with the addition of Crown Linen and Vicente's. What experience do you bring to work with the private sector to promote this success, and what other industries will you pursue?
Well, I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have a team, an economic development team, and we are actively bringing additional businesses in, and part of that strategy has been to identify the target industries that Brockton would be attractive to, and that's biotech, that's food processing and distribution, that's healthcare, and it's advanced manufacturing. We're very close to announcing a major advanced manufacturing facility coming to the city that will create jobs and pay taxes and bring back a brownfield. We work very closely with Evans Machine right now. They've expanded 3 times, advanced manufacturing. But we have to get more help with programs for job skills and job training. We have a very available workforce that's ready, willing, and able to go to work, but they need the training and the mid-level job skills to qualify them to get a job in these companies. And that's a target goal of ours right now, and it's one of the reasons why I'm fighting so hard to get a downtown college collaborative satellite school here in the downtown,
It's
because
time.
that
Thank
will
you.
have a focus on job skill training.
Mr. Hopgood?
Yeah, I believe there's no shortage of people wanting to work. You know, I really believe that. I think people will work if they have the opportunity. And we need to bring corporations in here. But I would have to go ahead and consult with an economic advisor to go ahead and be practical about everything. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
Yes, my track record speaks for itself. I worked with Crown Linens and uniforms, like I said, for 3 years. I worked with the Westgate Mall to bring in more business, and I worked with Northeast Electric to come in to bring in their headquarters to Brockton. You have to have a passion for bringing in business. You have to make sure that they feel like they're wanted. I sat a couple of years ago with Chick-fil-A, who wanted to put a site on in the Westgate Mall. At the time, the Brockton Redevelopment Authority director basically scared them out of the city. So I had to have a sit down with them and tell them that we are business friendly. The perception for a lot of people is that Brockton is not a business friendly city, but I would definitely change that up with my past experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tagger?
I know it's been a while since I asked you to repeat a question, but could you?
Brockton has seen some recent success with the addition of Crown Linen and Vicente's. What experience do you bring to work with the private sector to promote this success, and what other industries would you pursue?
One, I want to make sure I touch upon the customer service question earlier. I actually would like to see our young people working in City Hall as ushers. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Jobs provide a sustainable future for our city. Creating jobs is going to provide pride to our residents. I want to look at businesses, of course, manufacturing businesses, but businesses that employ young people and enhance our community. Also, businesses that encourage family engagement, and businesses that complement the great businesses that we already have. I've recently visited a facility nearby that it's sports, recreation, had arcades, miniature golf. I want to see businesses that bring families here, that bring foot traffic to our city and tourism. But I want to also ensure that we bring the right type of businesses for our community, because Brockton is a community. It's a small area with a lot of people, but this is a community, and we need those types of businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll finish with an easy question. Mr. Hopgood, what is your favorite place or activity in Brockton?
Oh, my favorite place. I would probably say Westgate Lanes. I enjoy ballroom.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McMillan?
DW's Field Park. That's it.
Mr. Tagger?
My favorite place is anywhere where my friends and family are. I enjoy doing a lot of volunteer work here in the city. And I want to tell a real quick story. I have a minute, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we don't celebrate Christmas at our house, not for any religious reason, but because my mom and dad had passed away. My dad passed away on Christmas some years back. So we've basically just been doing volunteer work, especially on Thanksgiving at the elderly towers. A couple of years ago, when my kids are content, we take care of our kids all year. My kids wake us up on Christmas morning, and this was a very proud time. And my kids said, "Dad, what are we doing today? What are we doing?" They were waking us up, and I said, "What do you mean? Like, you guys know we don't really celebrate this holiday. We celebrate each other all year." And they said, "Well, we're not volunteering anywhere today." And I said, "No, today is our day off. But anywhere where I can be around my family and my friends and my community." So all of Brockton is my favorite place, as long as my family and friends are there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Carpenter?
Well, I do enjoy walking the neighborhoods of the city, and I've spent a lot of time in the neighborhoods over the past couple of years, but I think I also, to a certain extent, have to agree with Chris. The DW Field Park and the golf course that we've put a tremendous investment into upgrading and revitalizing is certainly a magnet to bring people into the city. I guess I'd probably have to selfishly admit, probably my favorite thing to do in the city of Brockton is to be on the sidelines of a Brockton High football game. I called Brockton High football on the radio for 17 years, loved every minute of it, and still try to never miss a game.
Thank you. That concludes the questions. We now have 1 minute for each candidate to make closing remarks. The candidates drew separately for the order of the closing remarks. So first up will be Mr. Hopgood, then Mayor Carpenter, then Mr. McMillan, and then Mr. Tagger. Mr. Hopgood.
Hi, my name's Chris Hopgood. I'm running for mayor, and I'm very proud to be a Brocktonian. I've lived here my whole life. I appreciate everything that the law enforcement is doing, that the fire department's doing, and all the public service is doing. But I just think we could go ahead and up the grade a little. That's my view. And I hope for your vote on the 22nd. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Mayor Carpenter?
Well, thank you very much. I became mayor 19 months ago with a plan and a vision, and my commitment has not wavered for one moment. We are growing the city's economy. We are creating jobs. We are rebuilding the downtown of this city. We are expanding the tax base to provide real property tax relief. We are making city government inclusive and user-friendly, and we are fighting crime every day in this city, and we're fighting for the neighborhoods of this city. And we're off to a very good start, but you can't get done in 19 months, and that's why I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September 22nd, so that we can continue with the work that has begun.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
Thank you very much for the Metro South Chamber. My name's Chris McMillan. I'll be number 1 on your ballot on September 22nd. The reason why I'm running is because I have the most experience to run the city of Brockton. I had 8 years as city council, years as a council president. I know how it works as far as budgeting the city goes. I know how it is to live within your means of your budget. Right now, the city is in deep trouble right now. Our bond rating was just reduced from an AA3 to an A1. That's critical for any type of bonds we have to apply for later on. And as business people don't know, that's bad news. That means it's not being run correctly, money-wise, and as far as the crime-wise go, it's up on everything. My question to you is, do you actually feel safer right now than 2 years ago? And if it's not, then vote for me, Chris McMillan, on September 22nd. I'm number 1 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Tagger?
Oh, I won't ask you the question. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for having this forum. Forum such as this are very important to allow the voters an opportunity to educate themselves on their candidates. Clearly, my priorities are public safety, job creation, business development, youth empowerment, fiscal responsibility, transparency, and accessibility for all residents and businesses. As a businessman, community activist, coach, parent, and lifelong resident of Brockton, my background and experience, as well as lack of political ties, make me the only choice for real change in the City of Champions. My name is Jacob L. Taggart Jr. I am running for mayor of the City of Champions, and I ask you to join me as we bring real change to the City of Champions. Thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank all of the candidates, Mayor Bill Carpenter, candidate for Mayor Christopher Hopgood, candidate for Mayor Christopher McMillan, and candidate for Mayor Jacob Tagger. I'd also like to thank Brockton Community Access for filming the event today, the Chamber of Commerce's Government Affairs Committee, and the Chamber Board and staff who worked so hard to put this together. We'd also like to thank UMass Boston for sponsoring the 2015 Government Affairs meetings. So I'd like to close with a round of applause and thank you for our candidates.